Good morning. I am Steve Weber, broadcasting from the road, the American Gumption morning show, broadcasting on Spirituality Gone Wild, and I'm coming to you this morning from Boulder, Colorado. This is this is the third day I'm waking up in Boulder. I arrived here on Sunday night, and I did do a show on Monday. I just sort of talked about the 3-day adventure from traveling from California up to Boulder over Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and arrived about 9 o'clock. So anyway, here I am in Boulder. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the last 2 days and what I ended up doing here while I was in town, visiting Angie LaRue's crystal Sanctum. So that took place mostly on Monday. Monday was a full all-day session, but I did go back yesterday morning and did kind of a wrap up. And so I'm going to just go ahead and describe the process of what I did. And then I also met with Kathy Mason. And, we ended up, we had a group dinner on Monday night, and then Kathy and I met again last night. So I'll just tell you a little bit about the last 2 days. I've been, pretty busy here and quite exciting and having a good time with it. So anyway, that's what today's broadcast is going to be all about. Now, before I get into that, let's see, let me find one more. Here we go. I just want to tell you what's happening the next couple of days. So today, Wednesday, I'm going to be in Boulder one more full day. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to leave here and I'm going to end up driving over to Kansas City and stay with my brother and sister-in-law. And arrive there on tomorrow night, Wednesday evening. Yeah. And then I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, at least in the Kansas City area. Not 100% sure. May end up going up to Chicago Monday, Tuesday. May end up just hanging in Kansas City an extra day. So don't quite know what's going to happen early next week. But anyway, I'll certainly spend the weekend in Kansas City. And for the most part, the really active part of the, where I had a lot of meetings and a lot of visiting with people, kind of full days scheduled, it's kind of coming to an end. So it's a little bit an easier schedule the second half. It's a little more, there's a little more family visiting that'll happen. And then there's still a couple more people that I'm going to stop and do some with the Spirituality Gone Wild group. But for the most part, the first half of the trip was all designed around, a lot of meetings, a lot of specific dates to meet different people. And I do want to say that on Monday, the 29th, that was the day I had on the calendar to go to the Crystal Sanctum. And so that was kind of like a really, it was, I would say that was the key marker on the calendar as far as this whole trip goes. So that's why I wanted to take this one show and talk a little bit about that. All righty. But to finish and wrap up, I do plan to do a brief show tomorrow morning before I depart from Boulder, and then travel. And then Friday, I'll plan to broadcast from Kansas City, regular time. And then probably same thing on Monday, Tuesday, do some shows next week from the road at my normal time. So this is kind of the plan. I do have content that I've been saving and interviews that I've done that I haven't fully had a chance to really, do a little bit of editing on, and so that I can bring those in. So that will be kind of coming up in the next week, those kinds of wrap-ups. And I'll just tease that this is kind of the intro to what I'm going to do. I have a lot of video. I have a lot of pictures. I have a lot of information on the 2-day visit to the Crystal Sanctum, to, meeting Angie. And I have basically a whole show that I will do where it's a edited version of that whole visit. This is just going to be kind of me talking it through and giving you a kind of a quick tease of what it's all about. So that's the plan for upcoming, and stay tuned for that. It's going to be that'll be fun. So anyway, let's see here. Where are we in terms of what I want to do? I think I'm ready to move into the monologue portion. I just wanted to kind of open this up and let you know. And so anyway, it's all good. I see Bettina, thank you, Bettina. She says it's exciting to see you road tripping and still being able to broadcast live. Yeah. So last week I ended up doing a couple of live broadcasts, but most of them got delayed. I was on the West Coast and it was really tough to get it done. In Mountain Time, it's at 8 o'clock. It's kind of hard to wake up at 7 o'clock and broadcast, So anyway, thanks for being patient. As I get further east, it'll be easier to keep the regular schedule. So anyway, that's what's happening. So now it's going to be a short show, probably maybe 15 minutes. I'll go through this. I always say that, and then I talk for 20 or 25. But I just want to tell you about what happened basically on Monday and Tuesday when I went and met with Angie, because it was really, like I said, the kind of the highlight, or at least it was a major piece I wanted to focus on as I went. So on Monday, I arrived at the Crystal Sanctum at about 11 o'clock, and I'm the motel I'm staying at is just about 7 or 8 miles away, so it's just a short little drive over to in Boulder, where Angie's studio or Crystal Sanctum is located. So I walk into the place. And, I had seen it on I've interviewed her 3 times, and so I've kind of had a feel for what it was going to look like. But it's always again, it's different face to face, or actually being in a place is much different than the experience of just seeing photos or videos of it. So anyway, as we got together, it was a little bit of nervousness. I mean, I felt like I knew Angie pretty well, but still, until you settle down. So we just had kind of a nice little conversation for the first 15 or 20 minutes, just to sort of get to know each other and, let the energy level kind of calm down as we were doing it. The first real thing that happened was she has this giant crystal bowl. It's probably 18 inches in diameter and 18 inches high. It's huge, kind of a white, white color, opaqueness to it. And this bowl, this crystal bowl, she ends up, we can kind of gong on it, but she also starts rubbing the top thing, and it's vibrating, and it's huge, and it's vibrating at 512 hertz. And that is the frequency of love. I don't know who figured out the frequency of love, but 512 hertz is the frequency of love. And so anyway, this thing is vibrating, and I'm like right in front of it, and getting this whole big, and it's like it's like vibrating through your whole body. So that was kind of that was like the first exercise we did, and she talked through it, and we did a little bit of meditation, and so anyway, we're in that presence of that. Then the next thing we did was she had a gong, and I don't know what the hertz of that was or what, but basically she had me stand in front of the gong, gives it a little whack, gong, and now she's able to sense the vibration and the waves as it emits from the gong and as it goes and passes through my body. And she's somehow energetically able to sense, the I don't know if you call it the speed of the wave or what, kind of like a radar or some kind of a thing. But anyway, and so that was, that was a little bit of a kind of a testing that she was doing, getting her vibrational tuning to my own vibrational tuning. And so these were all just exercises that she did to kind of get me in the mood, to get her tuned into what was happening in terms of what was going on with me. And so that was the beginning. And then we, I wrote a blog post, several weeks ago about tuning the vibe meter and, getting my sensitivity up. And this is what these exercises were really designed to do, is to kind of get me tuned into vibrational frequency. Of course, Einstein famously said E equals energy equals mass times the speed of light squared, E equals mc squared. And so we all are vibration at some level, or at the root level, we are all vibrating. And then of course, vibrations form into solid matter. And so this is really, the area that she's working in, this vibrational level. And, she has a super sensitivity to that sort of thing. So anyway, I'm there experiencing it. And we did several other exercises that were designed to allow me to, just sort of get more connected to my inner self, into that vibrational feel. And so one of them was leaning in and leaning out, where you kind of ask yourself a question, and if you lean forward, it's a yes, and if you lean, if you fall back from it, it's a no. So you literally, your body ends up moving, either into or away from. And so we went through all these different exercises. There was about a 3.5 hour period. And I had come in and taken my stuff out of my pocket and my phone. I put it down and, made a little pile of my stuff. And so I didn't have any of that. So I was in the, kind of just following along her lead, going through this exercises. And then at one point we ended up even taking a walk outside and did some, did some more exercises outside. And the breeze was a nice sunny, it was probably 60 degrees, a lot of wind, but it was, it felt warm. And so we were, going through this process of just really tuning me up. And so in the meantime, I had peeked into where the bio bed, the Orgone Generator and Bio Bed is located, and seen all of that, and took some video and different things. So we kind of did a whole sampling of what it was all about. But most of these exercises for the first 3.5 hours were all designed to just kind of get, kind of tune my frequency so that I would experience the bio bed and the crystal array in a deeper way. The reason why I mentioned the 3.5 hours is because after we came back from the walk outside, we kind of took a little bit of a break in terms of what we were doing, looked at the phones for a few minutes, just kind of checked in to check back with the world, reconnect with the world. And, I noticed then that it was 3.5 hours. I had really didn't, I had kind of lost track of time. And so it just, so now it's like 2:30, it's 3 o'clock. We're getting into it. Now we're finally going into the sanctum and into the bio bed. I'm thinking I'm just going to like jump up on the bed, lay down, and the whole process starts. But no, there was still another, procedure or thing to go through. And what that was we had to, Angie had to really decide, well, what type of array is she going to build? And she doesn't, there's basically literally hundreds, I guess, I don't know, hundreds, maybe dozens, maybe 100 different arrays that she can build. And she has a book that has them. And so anyway, we go through that whole process of deciding what is the array. And that's basically her calling in her energetics, her connection to her higher self, her guides, her angels, to let her know what it is that needs to be built. And in the same time, my angels and guides are called in to do this. Now, this was pretty magical that happened. Angie said like a little prayer, calling them in. I had gone through the Akashic record reading a couple of weeks ago that, in some ways they're on the same kind of a level. They're certainly synchronistic with each other in terms of, what happens. But Amy Cunningham, who did the Akashic record reading, one of the very first things that had to happen was I had to give her permission. And so, I had to give permission for her to access my Akashic records. So as Angie concludes her little prayer in which she's calling in her guides, and she's asking her spirit guides to connect with my spirit guides, I had a little bit of an inspirational moment where I said my own little prayer, and I said, I want to call in my angel guides and my higher spirit connections to work with Angie's, and that I give permission to Angie to proceed in whatever way she believes. And Angie was, she was kind of surprised and delighted that happened. But then she said she could see all of my guides and angel guides coming. And she said that when I said that, they all went and started clapping. And so the message was that maybe I could talk to my spirit guides a little more often, because I was making connection with them, and they were actually pleased that this was going on. When she told me this, I mean, I literally had a chill run down my body. So if you believe in these kinds of things, if you believe it's possible to connect your energy and then this is what was happening. This is what we were doing inside the crystal sanctum, and it was so it was great. So, and again, I'm going to do a longer video on this in which I have interviews and talking and pictures. And so, but that needs to be edited. So I just wanted to give you the quick version today. So now we have the guide, I'm becoming was the actual, I'm becoming was the actual array that was going to be built. And it was like kind of an M. So it was like, on two sides of my body. It goes up and then it turns back and comes down to the point, just like an M does. This was the array that she built with her crystals, and the point came right on my heart is where it was. So I'm laying down on this, and she builds this crystal array around my body. And I have photos. I have a couple pictures of the when I was in the meditative state with the array built. And what happens with the crystals is, so first of all, there's this bed which has all these crystals in it, and that's the Orgone Generator Bio Bed. And so all this massive energy from these crystals is coming up. And a crystal, crystal 101 is basically they're rocks is what they are, but they're all kinds of specialty. They're different rocks. They're not specialty rocks. They're just different minerals, different, anyway. So they emit energy. And if they're pointed, like if they're like a pen or a pencil, like a rod, they emit energy out one way. So energy goes out from it. And this can all be measured with scientific equipment. Sensitive measuring devices can measure all this. But in Angie's case, she's a master crystallologist. She's energetically feeling this, and she has this ability to really tune into it. And I'm like, she's trying to get me to turn up my sensitivity dial along the same way. So anyway, the crystal bed, so I'm laying on top of the bed, which is emitting all this energy. And then you build the array, and it basically points the energy in a certain direction, which comes back, into my heart. So all this energy is happening around me, and I can feel it. It's not like feeling like you're, vibrating crazily, but if you get sensitive to it, you can really start to feel this. In fact, when she opened up the bed the very first time, it was almost like waves of energy were coming out. It was like almost like a breeze I could feel. So it's quite, it's quite a fascinating place and great experience. During I'm going to guess it was probably about a half hour that I was on the bed with the crystal array built. Angie had a story that she told, and she said she never tells the same story twice. She just sort of, and it was like a journey that we were on, and it was an outdoor journey, and there was like a horseback ride, and then into the mountains and cross fields and traveling, and then ultimately getting to a tent, and then from the tent, resting there, and then leaving and returning. And if from a meditative point of view, the journey was kind of like deepening down into that subconscious level. And then the tent was like kind of the depth, the bottom depth of where we had traveled to, and then returned and came back out. After the experience was all done, Angie and I sat up and we did a bit of a debrief. She doesn't want you jumping up and running around, but it's sort of a meditative state. You want to come out slowly. And then a friend of hers who we had talked about, he came by and he did an interview, and I put I set up my camera, and so he basically interviewed me on terms of the experience. And so I talk a lot about this, and it was about a half-hour interview. And again, I want to edit that and incorporate that all in. So after that, we went to dinner. Angie Gar, who was the gentleman who came over, and then Kathy Mason, we met there. So the four of us had dinner on Monday night, a couple of hours sitting there. It was about 9 o'clock, 9:30, left the restaurant. I get home about 10 o'clock. So I was there all day. I was pretty wiped out at that point. I had learned a lot. And at some point I was like, oh my God, I can't take anymore. I mean, I was on, I was filled up in terms of ability to take all this in. So that was Monday came to an end, and so I came back and slept. I woke up early enough thinking I might do a broadcast, and basically I was already scheduled to go back and meet Angie at 10:30. Wasn't even sure what that was all about, what was going to happen, but I knew that I didn't want to broadcast yesterday just because I needed a chance to kind of get my wits about me. And so I took, yesterday I did not do a live broadcast, but just sort of rested. And then once I decided not to do the broadcast and made that decision, then it became obvious I needed to go back and meet with Angie one more time. And we did an interview where we talked about this whole process, kind of like what we're doing today, but it'll be in her words and with my words also. So that's recorded. So that's the editing that needs to take place, and then I have a lot of B-roll and pictures of the actual crystal sanctum. Alrighty, so that is that really, so that interview, I got there 10:30, and at 11:45 I left, and she had a busy, afternoon schedule. I came back to the hotel then yesterday, and I was pretty wiped out from all of that energy moving and all of the experience of it. It felt good, but I knew I needed to, just let it sink in and not necessarily go off running around trying to do something else. So I just kind of chilled out yesterday afternoon, and then I ended up watching a lot of the videos that I had made the last that from the day before, and began the process. Okay, how am I going to turn this into a story? So then last night I went and met with Kathy Mason again, and now Kathy became Debbie G and Kathy met somewhere in the fall. I had already been broadcasting on a regular basis, but Kathy started working with Debbie and the Spirituality Gone Wild group, and she's been doing her own broadcast for 2 years, conscious business development. But her and I had a chance to have a nice dinner last night and just a one-on-one talk about things, and I explained the whole Gumption vision, and we had not ever had a chance to really talk about that. So it was just a great day that way. So that really is it. That's what's going on tonight. I'm gonna. The plan is to meet nephew Jake and Callie for dinner somewhere in Denver. So we'll just see how that works out. The rest of the day, I have a chance to get my digital files a little bit in order, because I just collected a bunch of stuff the last week and a half and haven't really had enough time to, start getting things organized. So I have several interviews that need to just be processed, and then I can, play them during a live broadcast in the next couple of days, in the next week as I make my way back. The idea would be to wrap up all this by the time I get home, and have all these broadcast things shown. But the next week is going to be less traveling or less miles, and there'll be some miles that I have to put in, but it'll just be easier days as far as full travel days, like that 3-day travel day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That was like that was the monster thing. And like I said, Monday was that day I had on the calendar meeting Angie that I was really looking forward to, and so just went through that experience. So that is really it. It was just a great trip, and stay tuned for the full broadcast. I'll give you a day or two notice for sure of when I actually broadcast that. So but wanted to check in from the road and let everybody know what was going on. Appreciate the fact that people are following and enjoying this, and in fact I got a message from Jeff Carlston just earlier. I noticed it just earlier when I got up, and he's like, "Oh, if you're in Colorado," and I'm like, "I'm in Colorado. I think I'm about an hour away from him. So maybe I'll go see Jeff today. We'll just see if that works out." Alrighty, that's it. Have a great day, everybody. We will see you. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.